This is NFTCulture. I'm Pio, and I'm here with my partner Malachi. How's it going, Mal?
It's great. It's a great day. I'm excited that we're going to be focusing a little bit more on artists today. We've been a little bit avatar crazy, so we promised these segments, and I think we have some good artists to talk about.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, I think the whole NFT space has been pretty avatar crazy. So let's get started showing, some of the more talented, maybe some of the kind of up and coming artists in the space. So we can start here with Clementmor1. So what do you like about this artist?
Yeah, so I actually came across Clementmor1, and I lied on the last one. We said we're going to find artists that we haven't interviewed, but there's so many artists that are a little bit shy and they haven't really agreed to come on camera with us. So there were a couple really talented artists that I really wanted to highlight. Actually, if you go back and go to the super rare, I want to start with the super rare drop for Clementmor1 in their Twitter. But
Absolutely.
The reason I really like this particular artist is because I talk all day about storytelling, and it's funny that I talk all day about not really liking cats. But like when I see the cats moving, and I see this type of work, it really excites me. And so like when I think about the visual loops and some of the aspects of just the high quality that this artist is able to do. In fact, I'd argue that this isn't an up and coming artist. I'd argue that this is a very established artist, but they just, they aren't as well known because they don't get some of that exposure that some of the nifty gateway type drops bring to people. But when you look at just the high quality, look at the fireworks, the clean loop, the lighting, it just really touches me and excites me. And if you go back for 1 second, the variety of the art from the loop, the car on the road trip that reminds you of younger days, and just the repetitiveness. I remember being stuck. I lived in El Paso, and whenever we take summer trips, I'd see those fields and it would look like they're walking and moving. And so some of this storytelling really just excites me. And I just think that this is an amazing artist. They're from France. Incredibly talented. And the final one I want you to show before we move on is the dance. Yep, that one is. Oh, go back one more real quick. Is the fish aspect is just, yep, that one right there. Like I just think that the attention to detail of this artist is just incredibly talented. And so when I look at this and I think about the stories that can be told, and I think about the powerful loop that's created and the talent that goes into this. It really resonates with me personally.
I like it a lot. I think I've talked a little bit about how 3D artwork is new to me, and it's something that I am learning to really appreciate. With this 3D artwork, it's pretty easy for me to appreciate it. And the reason being is I love bright colors. I love, cartoony sort of schemes. And this is very much so in line with that. I'm not surprised that this artist is from France, because I feel like the artwork very much so speaks to what kind of, French artists enjoy. When you just look at some of the French directors and the movies and American, filmmaking things that French people actually appreciate. Well, it's connecting with me a million times over because I really, really, again, like the colors. I like the cartoony nature. Like this is my kind of 3D art 100%. It's kind of like just a traditional drawing or traditional painting that is cartoony and moves. That's what I'm getting from it.
Yeah, and I imagine when I think about some of the 3D art that really inspires me is I'm starting to think about how that art would look on a black dove. Like if I had a black dove behind me and I had this playing, it's not jarring. You think of fish tanks and those types of things, the slow movement. I think this is a great example about how artists can incorporate 3D into their art, embrace the NFT space, tell a story, and make it feel like true art, not like I'm watching a video game.
Absolutely. So let's move on to an artist that I really appreciate, which is Flower Blocks. I guess it's Joe Horner. And so we're on his foundation. And little thing about me is I really like flower-based art. I like my phone is a painting by Matisse that's I guess lemons here, but I used to have flowers here. And Robert Mapplethorpe's flower photography is something that definitely inspired me in a big way, because he's just like so talented at just taking pictures, or he was so talented at just taking pictures of flowers. So I don't know what the creative process is to make this. I don't know if these are digital flowers. It looks like, yeah, I'm not sure exactly how Joe goes about making these, but I really like the flower-based artwork, including some of these, I guess, video or 3D ones that are in motion. And I haven't seen much of this in the NFT space yet, so I really appreciate what he's doing.
Yeah, I love this. To me, I think it's actually some sort of real camera work where it is, but I mean, I could be completely wrong. I hope that we're able to eventually have this artist on, because it really resonates with me. It's funny, you know, the Monet quote, "I must have flowers always and always. Color is my day-long obsession, joy and torment." You know, flowers resonate with me quite a bit too. But it's one of those things that you need to think about the beauty of this. So I like this art quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, the aesthetic on this one, for example, like to me, when I look at this one and I see this aesthetic, it just shows, it's actually similar to David Lisser. When I look at his artwork, it just shows, you know, the aesthetic shows a polished artist that understands, you know, what a beautiful aesthetic looks like. So I really like the kind of, you know, the darker aesthetic. I just like the way the flowers are framed, the colors. I'm a very big fan. So yeah, I agree with you. I really hope that we can get Joe on the show at some point for an interview or just as a guest. And I just want to pull up anything else. Like, yeah, if we look at some of these are so nice. I really like them. And wow, look at this one right here. So people need to understand that, like, arranging a composition like this is not easy. This is basically like a collage that looks very much so like he did it in post. So he took all these individual flower pieces and arranged them like this. This is, like, to me as a creator, one of the most nerve-wracking things that you can do, to put all these things together and make the composition and the colors work with each other. And then he's got this background which looks to be like a cloudy sky. So this kind of stuff impresses me and just really flexes his muscles as a creator.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that it's a lot harder than people realize. What would be really impressive is if somehow this was caught, and we have to have this on, because when you look at the blue sky behind that piece, like if they somehow, you know, did this over and over, throwing flowers in the sky and caught the, you know, the aperture of the clouds, like that would make it even more incredible. And so if it's composition, that's great. But imagine if they're out there, you know, doing 100 takes to get the perfect shot. That would make this even more powerful. And those are the types of stories that should be told. And that's, you know, that's why we should have these descriptions. That's why when we talk about some of the issues that artists have about how do they market themselves, how do they, you know, shill their art. And I know a lot of artists don't want to, but understanding how this is made is completely powerful. And they may tell it in other mediums that we just haven't found out about. But to me, I think that, you know, when you look at the repetitiveness of some of this, I would love if they're throwing it in the air. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I have no idea how this stuff is made, but it's all really cool. Like, if you look at this floating egg right here, it looks like it's like an egg on glass, if that's what it is, with the sky behind. So I definitely have no concept. So shout out to Joe Horner here, Flower Blocks, for some incredible flower-based NFT artwork. Yeah, so let's move on. And there's another artist that I'm very impressed with, that I actually saw a number of other artists shouting out, like other artists that we've interviewed and that we follow. And this is Stephy Fung, I should say. So it looks like she actually has a Twitch channel where she showcases her creative process. So I think that's really cool. But when you look at it, she's a 3D artist and she's doing some things that I haven't seen before. Like, for example, right here, this is some of her 3D wearable artwork, where it's like an AR, you know, augmented reality play, where you can actually try on the 3D artwork that she's making, which is basically like 3D clothes, which I think is fascinating.
Yeah, you know, I think she actually randomly came onto my radar. I forget how. It might have been some interaction with Christian actually, but just the high quality of her art is incredible. And when you think about as we head into the metaverse and some of these things that can come from it, I really see a path where not only are the NFTs really valuable today, but when you think about the airdrops that we get for Bored Ape Yacht Club and those types of things, but imagine these designers who are going to create custom one of one or one of few pieces of art that your avatars could eventually wear in the metaverse. These could be the future designers that are as big as the Vera Wangs, like the big publishers, because these are really awesome one-to-one. And like, as celebrities spend more time in the metaverse, does Paris Hilton one day want to wear a Steffi Fung or otherwise? So there's some really cool ideation here that goes on top of the impeccable art.
Yeah, I have to think that in the future, that point that you just brought up was so strong that in the future, there will probably be like augmented reality renderings of, expensive clothes by a Vera Wang or, a Versace or something like that to see how they would theoretically look, right? Because I've never worked in like the fashion industry. I've never worked, fitting dresses for a major movie star. But I have to imagine that if you like make a dress for Jennifer Lopez for the Emmy Awards or something, or the Grammy Awards, if it doesn't look good or she doesn't like it, that's not going to be good for you, right? That's going to be a very painful experience. So this would be a way to kind of experiment with things and give that actor, actress a real idea of what the clothes would look like before they're physically made. So this is cool. So let's look up though some of
real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, where you're moving that, like Gucci's already testing some of this with like virtual sneakers. They're not NFTs yet, but they're testing some of that AR stuff. When you think about Vive and what they're doing, when you think about Ferocious with the sneaker drop that they're doing, virtual, non-virtual, like we're on the cusp, but we're still early. So this exploration is really exciting.
Absolutely. So let's check out some of Steffi's other work, because there's more sort of traditional. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, it's all 3D. Again, really, really cool. Like incredibly cool clothing and great colors. I love like the charcoal mixed with the gold. Yeah, I'm definitely a huge fan of her work. I like how she laid the Steffi Fung Twitter handle on there. You got to promote, and she made it work. I love the font and I love the placement of it. So yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to keep an eye on Steffi, and hopefully again she can come on the show. And it looks like this is kind of like Blake Catherine mixed with her fashion design. So definitely an artist to look out for. Clearly creating like whole worlds with 3D art. I really appreciate her artwork.
Definitely. There's another artist that maybe we talk about next week that's doing some really interesting stuff with like the wearable pieces that I want to go into more detail on, but I can't pull them up quick enough. But I do want to end with this one.
Yeah, let's look at Showdeer. Oh, wow. So I'm not familiar with this artist. You're introducing this artist to me.
Yeah, so Showdeer is actually, I own one NFT from Showdeer. Sometimes it's on in the background, or actually NFTCulture actually owns one Showdeer, and I own two personal Showdeers. And I actually have a physical coming that is signed by Showdeer in the near future. What's really interesting about Showdeer for me personally is just I don't know what happened, but like I started really liking some of this, the composition, and I forget, I'm not going to call it the right thing right now, but when you combine these different elements to create something new and like mixing and matching those types of things, normally I can remember, but it's early for me. But he came onto our radar, actually reached out to us, and so we kind of fell in love with the art. And like this is the piece that's in the NFTCulture collection. But you just look at just some of the crazy, wild stuff that's happening. And if you actually go back to the OpenSea, these pieces of art are just incredible, and they combine these different pieces. The collections change. They do a weekly drop, and they've actually moved like a month ago. He had only moved 10 Ethereum, and he's only selling on OpenSea right now. But he's gotten to 26 Ethereum. So there's a lot of people that are seeing a lot of value in this art now. So I think this is an artist that people shouldn't be sleeping on. I'm incredibly excited to have my print come. I'm going to be putting it up behind me just because I really think this is a good take, and it's different than, it's proof that you don't have to be a 3D artist or you don't have to be a well-known artist already or in every gallery in America to be successful if you're not doing 3D. This guy is hustling, working their tail off. And yeah, click that Country Dream. That one's the one that I picked up. But if you work your tail off, you're going to move 26 Ethereum in 6 months. And so there's just a lot to do. There's a lot of opportunity. You don't have to go learn After Effects or Blender or Cinema 4D. You can, and that's great. Christian's work, his last piece is, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful pieces of work I've ever seen. But you can be a successful artist without going 3D.
For sure. And, you know, I really like this artist's work a lot. This is the one you bought, Malachi, Country Dream.
Yes.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I like it a lot. You know, like this definitely, you know, the color schemes here and the art style speaks to me. I wouldn't be surprised if Showdeer had a career making, you know, like I feel like brands could consume this artwork and have, you know, like an alcohol brand absolutely could consume this artwork and put it into an ad campaign. So I wouldn't be surprised if Showdeer's had some commercial success on that side, like as an artist for brands. But yeah, I really like the work.
Band posters. It came from the creating a lot of posters and stuff in the Northwest for like bands and those festivals, those types of things. And so you see that aesthetic really translating well to visually appealing NFT art.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this one right here, you can see it's like literally supposed to be probably a van that's used to go across the country and have bands. They got a dog in there, so I appreciate that. Then you got the vinyl player on top. Yeah, I mean, you know, this is definitely a cool artist. Thanks for putting this artist on my radar. I'll continue to pay attention. This is called Portland Moon. So this is for all of our Oregon folks out there, the Portland Moon. Yeah, I mean, I could see this being a band or a poster for a live show, like for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And it's affordable and it's highly collectible. A lot of people have them in their collections now. And when you go back to like a Black Dove or, you know, those other digital displays, like this is something that would be eye-catching no matter where it is. And the composition is how it's made.
No question. So, you know, that's this week's artist spotlight. Everybody, please support the artists that we've spotlighted here, and please continue to tune in for NFTCulture content for all things NFTs. That includes fine artwork. And yeah, we're sponsored, or we're about to be sponsored by Black Dove. So keep an eye out for the digital displays that they're putting out to actually showcase some of this artwork.